Hello, YouTubers. I trust everybody's doing well. I know this is a interesting season. I really don't like this time of year. I mean, I love living, don't misunderstand. But I've never celebrated the Christmases, the New Year's, the Thanksgiving, etc., etc. I always call them white people's holidays. uh, I'm not into it. When my children were little, I would make dinner, buy some gifts, you know, go through the whole pretense. But now they're adults, so I don't have to go there any longer. However, for those of you that indulges, happy holidays. Hope you and your family are well and secured and have food and a roof and water, and most important, in excellent health. And be thankful. You know, the aforementioned, which I just stated, is what's important. In any case, getting to the point. I'm making this video primarily to discuss a subject that I had no knowledge of until prior to the COVID-19 pandemic. And that is the subject of hobosexuals, who are also predators and stalkers, because they prey on men and women, and even homosexuals that have no idea, or may have some idea, and may or may not be privy to this network of men and women who prey on other men and women and homosexuals as well. From what I understand in my research, and I had to research this topic because I found it incredible, because it began with myself, actually. I've never been involved with anybody that's a hobosexual. I never knew anything like that existed until there was a situation where I was a member at a gym on 125th Street in New York City. And there was this individual that just seemed to take a set on me. Every time I went to that gym, he was always staring at me in some corner. I felt like, like somebody was staring through my flesh, literally. It was very, very uncomfortable. Many weeks and days I didn't attend the gym. I altered my hours so that I didn't have to see this individual. It was really, really horrid. And it got to the point where I would be on the treadmill, for instance, or the stepper, and he would stand maybe 6 or 8 feet away from me, talking about me, my clothing, my body, everything about me to other homosexuals like himself. Now, mind you, I didn't know that this individual or the rest of them in that gym were homosexuals. I go to the gym to work out. When I leave my house, I have a destination, gym, things that I need to take care of, and then I'm back inside. So anyway, it just became so horrible for me, very, very uncomfortable. And although I reported, this individual as well as others to the management there, nothing was done. Now, this was as I stated, it was at a Planet Fitness on 125th Street. And that particular Planet Fitness seems to cater to those homosexuals. Many of them come in there, and their jobs are supposedly that they're personal trainers. Really? Which is a bold-faced lie. because I'm a personal trainer. I have a certificate in it, in fact. I have to renew it every year, but I am a personal trainer. I decided to get my certificate in it and license in it because I enjoy working out. I think it's a lot of fun. I enjoy the human body, especially my own. And I decided, why don't I do that? You know, I could make some extra money, something to do, etc., etc. You know, and the things that I learned while I studied for personal training, I did not observe these people applying that to the craft of personal training. Also, the gym has a strict policy that no one should personal train anyone in the gym. There's a huge sign on the down stairwell that states that, and yet you have these individuals coming in there training people. You know, and I'm thinking to myself, excuse me, if anything occurs where any of those people are injured by these individuals whom are not personal trainers, no certificate, no licensure, the gym is going to be held liable for those people being injured. In any case, I digress somewhat. I just wanted to cover that a little bit. Because the reason why is because those individuals that are hobosexuals, they hide behind being personal trainers to make it seem as though they have some sort of employment, when in fact they do not. However, that's what they hide behind in order to attract somebody if a conversation emerges in terms of what they do for a living. Honey, let me tell you, this stuff is deep. I don't even think I can cover it in one video because it's really deep. First, there's a network of them. And they come in all shapes, sizes, ethnicity, cultures, etc., etc. They usually they try to strike up a conversation with the person. Some of them, not all, but they'll sit down and scope the person out, just like a prey. When you go hunting, you're hunting your prey, so that you can make the kill. They do the same thing when it comes to what they want from an individual, and usually they want a place to stay, either for the winter season, the spring season, or the summer season, or indefinitely. They can make a real great coup if they can move into someone's home and begin a relationship with the person and live with them indefinitely without working. They enjoy a free home, free food, free everything. And the only thing that they're willing to offer up is fake love, fake liking the person, and they use, of course, sex, either the VJJ or the penis, or anything else that they can add that's going to entice their praise indefinitely if they can get a foot in the door. And that's the operative word there, a foot in the door. Because they need to come into your home so that this way they begin to come up with a plan of how they're going to remain in the person's home. So they may either fall asleep there, or they have some situation where they stayed there. They live with their family or a roommate, and they were locked out, or it's being painted, or there's always a myriad of excuses why they may need to stay at their prey's home. And most people fall for it. And then one may notice they always have a bag on them. It could be a backpack, a gym bag, or a small carry-all. You see people all over the place now, especially in New York, parts of Washington, California, Atlanta is riddled with those homosexuals, by the way. And you see people, they're living in and out of their bags, their suitcases, whatever one wants to, their valise, whatever one wants to call it. You know, especially these days, because a lot of people have lost their homes. So the growth of the homosexual has metastasized. You know, the older people that's on the streets, usually if one notices, they're usually older people. Um, and living on the streets, of course, long enough, they've become mental. Because the fact is, as human beings, we're not meant to, no one is meant to live on the streets, especially in these European countries where it tends to be cold, rainy, snow, sleet, etc. You know, even in the summer, the weather is not always good. It's rainy, it's wet, it can be cold sometimes even in the summer due to the weather, or very hot. So as a result, the homosexuals used to be, they're usually between the ages of teens, mid-teens to uh, upper 30s and 40s even. Because even with their 30s or 40s, some of them still are able to play the game and garner some type of sympathy or what have you. And also, this is very important. Well, the entire subject is very important. However, not all homosexuals are wearing gym clothes or look like they just rolled off a couch or a bed. Some of them look as though they just stepped out of a modeling runway or GQ magazine or Ralph Lauren ad. But they have their backpacks and suitcase. They live nowhere because they're not making either they don't make a steady income or they're not making any income at all, which is the latter is usually the truth. They're not making any income whatsoever. So they just roll in and out from one couch to another to another. They'll, excuse me for being crass, but they will fuck anybody, man, woman, or beast, because the goal is to find a place to live, and they will lie, cheat, steal, and these days a lot of black women are falling victim to many of those type of men, and women too. But a lot of black women are falling victim to them, and they're nothing but homosexuals. And some black women discover, unfortunately, to a loss of their life, because those people are also willing to kill. Especially when somebody finds out, their prey finds out that they are using them for a place to stay. You know, these people don't work, they don't make any money, so they're just living off of them, and that's it. I decided to make this video because, excuse me, if I cough a little bit or make a little errors in my dialogue. In any case, I decided to make the video because a lot of black women are losing their life to these individuals. And I don't believe that many black women are aware of what's going on. Maybe they are, but maybe they don't care. Maybe some of them don't value their life enough, you know, because they're falling for these, you know, these people that sees them only as prey. And some of these black women unfortunately fall for those people, and they even allow themselves to be impregnated by them, you know, and then they leave them with the children or child. It's really sad, and it's terrible, and it is a growing epidemic, because those people, those homosexuals, are like a disease, and they really have to be stopped. And the only people can stop them are the people who allow themselves to be preyed upon by them, you know. And these black women, they really need to stop picking up those homosexuals, because that's what they are. They allow themselves to be picked up by those men in the gyms in the elevators, in it used to be in the clubs until COVID. So I don't believe they have any clubs any longer. And if they do, I guess it's underground, or um, on the buses or the trains. Um, for my case, I was in the gym. I love the gym. I've always loved the gym. Of course, I always attended the gym very early in the morning. It was very rare I went to the gym in the afternoons because I usually liked to attend in the gym early in the morning so that I could get it over with by 9 o'clock and I'm out. In any case, that individual, it's almost as if I became his prey. I, I was stalked by that individual and a few more. I always used to call him, the dark green giant, with his filthy tattoos and shit like that. And I noticed that in the winter months, he never had a coat. He always had these nice gym clothing, which I'm sure they were bootleg, and no slacks, just gym clothing, and that's it. Um, and it really became unbearable for me, to the point since management in the gym was not doing anything about my safety when I reported that individual and others for harassing me, I just had to shut down my membership and attend another gym. Best thing I ever did. And what it taught me is that I should have memberships in more than one gym so that I can alter it, because I never wanted to experience that again in my life. Somebody stalking you. I mean, I was literally being stalked in the gym. It was by a group of black men, and it was terrible. Excuse me. I never experienced such a horrible situation in my life. And I was afraid. I was really afraid. And I came to the conclusion that, for my safety, I better leave. And that's what I did. And I left. And this was prior to COVID because the gym was shut down for about, I believe, 15 or 16 months. In any case, I tried attending another gym. And lo and behold, I saw a few of those same homosexuals there. I left before I could blink an eye, literally, figuratively. However, they couldn't get away in the other gyms with what they were able to get away with in 125th Street, in Harlem. Okay, because those people in those other gyms, those other franchises, they weren't going to stand for that type of behavior. Okay, so they all gravitate to the gym in Harlem. That seems to be the cesspool of homosexuals. They gravitate primarily on the ground floor where they have the weights and all the other machines, the weight machines, etc. That's where they all gravitate to. On the upstairs, they have all the more of the cardio machines. That's the bulk of what the upstairs are, the cardio machines. So they don't like that. They stay downstairs because because it's access to a little bit of everything except the weight machines and the free weights. And this way, they know that people that does cardio is usually going to come downstairs to do the weight machines and the free weights. So they have easy access. So, I came home and I would speak to my family about it. And, one of my youngest sons said, "Oh, you got old homosexuals in the gym." That's what it is. I said, homosexual. I just thought I started laughing because like homosexual. I never heard of homosexual. What is a homosexual? In any case, I decided to go on YouTube and I typed in homosexual. Oh my God, there was this stream of videos regarding homosexuals. It was incredible. I couldn't believe it. Mm. Excuse me, I had to have some water. So I began listening to those videos and I said, oh my God, that sounds like my horror story in encountering the homosexual in the gym. You know, and, you know, what really precipitated me also relinquishing my membership to the gym was that a few times I went, I recall leaving the gym and I was across the street and I observed where that frigging homosexual literally like was following me. And I was like, wow, this is dangerous. This is dangerous. This is not a game. It is dangerous because now I'm being preyed on and stalked. And stalkers are dangerous. Predators and stalkers are dangerous. So these homosexuals are not just applying their prowess sexually, you know, towards their prey. They're also being predators and stalkers. You know, so I said, okay, I'm giving up this membership because I am really afraid. And it's the best thing I ever did because it got to the point where whenever I was in the gym, I felt very uncomfortable as though I was being watched, but I couldn't see who's watching me. I felt that I wasn't able to focus on my workouts because I was always looking around to see if somebody's watching me. You know, I felt really, really uncomfortable. So I just said, you know, I can't do this. I can't do this anymore. So I just withdrew my membership and went elsewhere or elsewheres because I attend about 3 or 4 different gyms in a given week. Not so much now because of COVID, but the gyms that I attend aren't crowded, which is great, you know, and I attend various times because this way I don't have to worry or think about some homosexual or some disgusting individual watching me while I'm doing my workout or stalking me or anything like that, which is great. All praises due to Allah. But women, specifically black women, you better be very careful out here because these are black men primarily that I was discussing, and they're looking for your homes to set up shop in, whether it's for a season or two or indefinitely. But they are also dangerous because they are killing black women because black women find out they're homosexuals and want them out of their homes, and they take them out. So I hope that you black women are very, very careful because this is not a game. You're playing with your life. And you have to ask yourself, what is your life? What's your self-worth? What is your life worth to you? Because no matter what, life goes on and you've got to decide, what is your life worth to you? You know, are you willing to put your life in danger for, you know, bullshit? You know, because you feel you want to help somebody or you're lonely. You know, if you're lonely, get a cat or a dog, man's best friend. But picking up these disgusting individuals off the streets, you know, the buses, the trains, or wherever you may meet them, you know, and I've seen it. A lot of black women doing that. They're giving out their name and numbers to some dude on a train or on a bus or in these gyms where they don't know these people, where they come from, and like I stated previously, they don't all look like a bum. Some of them are dressed very well because they know that in dressing it'll be easier for them to attract the opposite sex or even the same sex. They also sit in restaurants where they'll sip on tea or soup or coffee, as long as possible for hours, waiting to see if they can find a prey. They'll sit at a bar stool in a bar. Some of them even work with the waitress or bartender, where they may get a cut of a couple of dollars if the bartender or waitress or waiter helps them to pick out a someone they can prey on. So just be careful out there. New York, California, Atlanta, these places have become cesspools, especially with COVID out here. Everybody is looking to live their life on somebody else's back. And they don't care if you're a good person, if you're a decent person, if you've been good to them, nice to them. All that adds up to is for them using you. They may tell you they love you or like you and how nice you are, etc., etc. But it's not, it's an empty gesture. It's said to gain your confidence so that you will allow them to drive your vehicle. You will give them money and food and shelter and whatever else that they can get out of you. Even on these shows, Love and Hip Hop in Atlanta and all this business, that has scenes of where some of those individuals are homosexuals, some of those men. I mean, look at that guy that Mimi was dealing with. And he's married, allegedly. I'm not saying this allegedly, but, some of these people, their sole purpose is to just live off black women. They don't, and some of them don't necessarily even want a roof. They may just want the money to get a roof. So, please be careful, people. And black women, especially you. Because you always, especially brown-skinned black women, you always want to help out somebody. You got to start helping yourself. Okay? And stop allowing these black men that have nothing to offer impregnate you and just leave you to take care of the child and raise the child by yourself and go through all that struggle, and they drop by once in a while when they're hungry or they want to wet their dick or they need a place to stay, for a season, a night, a week, a month, whatever. I don't feel sorry for, I used to feel bad for black women, some of them, but I don't anymore. Because if they're picking up these type of men, what do you expect? You have to ask yourself, and I stated it previously, how do you see yourself? Do you value your life? Because if you value your life, then why are you picking up the dregs of society in the gutter? Because that's what they are. They're the dregs of society. They're nothing but a bunch of filthy gutter rats, and they're looking to bring your life down with them. And when they can't get any more out of you, they're going to move on, because that's ultimately their goal, to get as much as they can out of you and then move on. So on that note, I'm going to leave it here, and this will be part 1 of this subject. I will cover more details in my next video. Good night, like and subscribe. Thanks for listening.